do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me? Over.
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Hurrah! Get some. What's going on, everybody? Hey, we got a great show lined up for you today. Got my guests coming on here in just a second. But before we get started, hey, let me just throw out a quick disclaimer. So all the things that we talk about in this show, thoughts, opinions, and whatever else comes out of our soup coolers, those are our mouths. Hey, those don't reflect the opinions or anything like that of Sitch Radio, StreamYard, or anybody else for that matter. And at times, even myself and my guests may not even agree, or sometimes you may not agree with whatever I say, and that's okay because guess what? It's freedom of speech, and that's what we're all about here. I mean, I protect the Constitution, so do my guests as well. So, but just want to throw that out there. And so, if you don't like what you hear, you're free to move on. And but if you like what you hear, then guess what? You're gonna be really, you're gonna enjoy yourself tonight. All right. So my next guest is that this is Aaron Seibert, United States Navy Chief, retired. He's a great dude. As a matter of fact, he's where I got started with the field op, and on his awesome show. It's called Combat Vet Vision. It's right here on Sitch Radio as well, and on StreamYard and Facebook Live and YouTube. So tune in and listen to his show as well whenever you have a moment as well, and like and share also. So with that being said, let's bring on the chief. Let's get to know him a little bit. Hoorah! Get some.
Hey Pacho, thanks a lot for having me on this, man. This is this has been a really cool um, avenue to go, man, because I know I was excited way back when you talked about it. You're like, hey, man, I think this really kind of opened up some mindsets to you when we did the show way back before we were live on anything. We were just doing it on you know on voice all over the place, but Sitch Radio was still doing it, but it's come a long way. And for you to just kick it off like this, wow, man, you've done a lot of back work, a lot of really cool things, a lot of questions. You've hit up a lot of people. You got a lot of good things lined up. And what's cool, man, is like this is a little bit lighter than my subject matter. Obviously, with combat vet vision a lot. I can see, it this is for many different vets, many different ways, many different things. So I look forward to kind of telling some crazy stories and going through it this way.
I know, right? No, it's great. And as a matter of fact, I just want to, since I'm having the show right now, first of all, thanks for honoring me with your presence here on the field op. And how crazy it is that this was just a concept that from that one it was like 2 years ago when we started talking about it. When I was a guest actually on your show, and after I was like, dude, we should come up with this show. We'll be freaking motivated and all that good stuff. But I know you had your hands full too as well, and here we are. And I started, these last couple of months, I was really on you, like stink on shit, basically. It's like picking your
Hey man,
brain.
when people say something sometimes, like especially we come from Warriorville, the PTSD Foundation, hanging out there at the foundation there in Lake Elsinore. But there's a lot of guys that come up with these cool ideas. I mean, take the softball team for instance. Someone came up and they said, "Hey man, do you think Nick will let this thing go?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, but who's going to run it?" And then it starts, right? So you get to see these things start. And I remember you telling me about this thing, and I was like, "Yeah, it's a great idea, but dude, I can't do it. I'm already fully involved with so many things, so many crazy things." But dude, you did it. You did it, man.
I
You're
know.
doing it. It's rad.
Uh,
It's awesome. Therapeutic effect too. You know what I mean?
Hoorah. Yeah, oh no, how good it is that you get to talk shit over the over the radio and the podcast, stream it to thousands of people. But yeah, man. So why don't we just dive right in, man? So
Okay.
how cool was it? What got you into the Navy and all that stuff? But actually, before all that, hey, let's debunk some myths here, man. let's talk about the silver bullet. You guys really like doing that shit, man? Because you know how it's like, hey, man, Duck is gonna get you. He's gonna put the silver bullet in you if you don't drink your water, change your socks. God damn it!
Dude, I will say that term alone has woken up a couple of Marines. Like, hey man, I'm gonna have to take your temperature anally. And a lot of times the docs would be like, hey man, I don't even use a thermometer, man. I just lick my finger and this is the kind of stuff that goes on, right? Hey, disclaimer, everything I say is true. It may not be acceptable in society today, but it's part of what keeps the motivation every day to keep going, because you're dealing with some crazy stuff. And you talk about the silver bullets, has a thermometer that goes up the butt, it just takes the temperature. But dude, you start talking about, dude, I got to take your temperature anally. They're like, nah, I'm up, dude. I'm awake. I'm good. I've seen this.
I'm
I've
up.
seen
They
this
see me. I'm
twice.
down.
Hey, but there was one time it just couldn't happen, man, because the guy was actually, believe it or not, he wouldn't respond to anything, man. I mean, he was out because he literally drained himself of all the sugars in his body for the most part, and he
Oh,
was
no
done.
kidding.
I mean, we got him to the hospital. He actually got a shot of sugar in his IV fluid. So he talked about adding some freaking sometimes it's not a matter of you're dehydrated. Sometimes it's a matter of, hey, you might be a diabetic and there's other issues.
Oh,
So you talk about all this funny stuff, it's like one of those things. But I, why did I get in the Navy? I really, I was coming out of high school, and my whole plan, I was dating a gal in high school, and she was my high school sweetheart, and her dad was a Navy fighter pilot, F4 Phantom pilot, David
oh,
Albert
no
McRae,
kidding.
really awesome dude. He would talk to me about a lot of things, and the best man in his wedding was a Navy SEAL, and the whole team of Navy SEALs. This is in Vietnam. Did this route recon almost all the time the same way, and the whole team got hit, and almost everybody perished in this whole thing. So, I mean, I was really kind of set on being a Navy SEAL. I was like, yeah, I just want to be this Navy SEAL. I want to go out and do this thing and be out there, just doing it. And but then,
Kick ass, take names.
yeah. Well, what happened is I joined the Navy, and then I got another girlfriend, and I really didn't want to put that kind of commitment in. But they said, hey, in order to be a Navy SEAL, here's the 3 ratings you can be. One was a um, bosun's mate, and I was like, nah. There was a corpsman, and I can't remember what the third one was, but I was like, what's a corpsman? I didn't even know. They're like, oh, you can go you can go with the Marines, you can do this, you can go in these hospitals, you're going to be doing all this stuff. I said, all right, let me do that. Not to, to find out I mean, the history of the Navy corpsman, FMF corpsman with the Marines, most decorated, you know, all enlisted corps still in existence. And it's
Yeah.
huge, and we have this great opportunity because we go out there with the Marines, we put ourselves in harm's way, we do a lot of crazy stuff, and we carry a heavier bag. We carry all the gear that we got to carry anyway. And the best medicine on the battlefield is fire superiority. So, you know, you're good in the fight until someone gets hit, and then you got to definitely take care of them. And now you got to protect your patients. And so you got this whole thing. And in the Geneva Convention, there's some funny stuff too, because Geneva Convention says, corpsmen or medical personnel cannot be prisoners of war. We're detained personnel until everyone escapes. So we don't even get to fit the category of a prisoner of war. So the POW, MIA, you know, booth that always gets set up, I'm always like, yeah, that's always for somebody else, but it's definitely not for us corpsmen or, medical guys, because we also have to treat the enemy. There's a lot of really weird rules for corpsmen, but it's really kind of cool. And the job that I got to do, and so many different things that I had the opportunity to do with Marines, to train, to get under a helicopter and hook up some gear, to do some really cool stuff like that, LFSTs, um, you know, movements to the shore on LCACs, on, just different things that even Marines haven't been able to do. A lot of times Marines talk a lot of crap. One of the biggest things I like to say is, man, I got more time in the Marine Corps than you do, but you know what's funny is, like, you might have more time in the Navy than me, because I might not have been on enough ships. My sea
I
counter
know.
is like, I got 20 years, but my sea counter might have, I think it's got like 2 years and like some months, right? But there's Marines that have been on ships a lot more than me. But because I went with the Marines, yeah, I went on ships, but we did a lot of field ops. I mean, it doesn't always include a ship. It includes an aircraft or something like that. So people, a lot of guys may not understand that, but and in all that, there's all these field op stories, right?
Yeah,
So we'll
and
get
those.
into that, but but I'll let you
Yeah.
ask me some questions, whatever you're thinking about, man.
No, no,
Let's get
it's
locked
great. I mean, I'm listening to, you know, I'm scooping what you're pooping, man. I'm listening to everything that you're saying, and it's true. I read on Leatherneck magazine a couple of years ago an article that was written by by a Navy corpsman. I think he was from World War II era, and you guys get to wear the Eagle Globe and Anchor on your left breast pocket, and he says that a true corpsman who served in the FMF and because we didn't call ourselves uh, um, Navy personnel, we called ourselves Marines, and even and that's why and the actual term, there is an actual term called devil dogs. I mean, that's and dude, I knew when I was going through getting my degree, I had this corpsman, and this dude was part of Recon when Recon Battalion first stood up right there in Camp Pendleton in Margarita. This cat was crazy fit, and I mean, the dude was like intense. And I said, dude, you're hardcore. He goes, well, he goes, I'm in recon battalion. Two, I already got a strike against me because I'm in the Navy and you're amongst Marines. So I'm one of of a few amongst many. And so I have to be harder. I have to run faster. I have to shoot better. And on top of that, I gotta be on top of my medical game to make sure that my Marines, and if the shit hits the fan, that I'm there for them. And in case I gotta pull them out and carry them, where out of harm's way, I gotta be able to do that. So therefore, I need to be better. And I was like, dude, I mean, this dude was legit. I mean, I looked up to this motherfucker, man. I mean, the dude was no kidding, a badass. So Devil Dogs, man, I've always had mad love for you guys because you guys take care of us. I mean, that's what you do. Finger in the ass and everything gets up.
Yeah, yeah, I was really, my pride and everything goes with Fifth Marines. However, I was with Med Battalion for my first FMF tour was with group, and I went to Okinawa and came back and did a whole bunch of cool
Right.
stuff with that. But you talk about some stuff like that. Talk about being always, you got to be fit, you got to be strong, you got to be ready to rock and roll, man. And I'll tell you what, those hills in Fifth Marines, it's surrounded by hills. It's like a bowl, and you can actually walk up a hill. And we were on a hike. We were on probably, I don't know, maybe I don't know, 15, 16 mile hike. And I remember these guys falling back, and I remember, something just popped in my head, and I just go, hey man, and because I'm in the back, and I got to pick guys up as they fall back, and I'm like, hey man, get up there, man. I'm pretty sure, man. I'm pretty sure I took the blue pill, man. I'm pretty sure I took the blue pill. But I'm looking around. You see a ship anywhere out here? I don't either. So get up there. You took the green pill, man. I'm just stuck with all these green. And what's funny is if you ever take first sergeant hill and you start climbing up the hill, it almost looks like you crest like about
Oh yeah,
15 times.
false sense of
15,
reality right there.
15 times it looks like you crest, and then you get up to this part and you look over and the hill just keeps going up, and you're just like, no, no.
Yep.
So your mind, if your mind isn't strong, you're not going to be able to carry your way through, because you can give up. I think it was funny because, I mean, in field med school we had to go on this 12-mile hike, and what happened was we got out there. They're like, hey man, we're gonna go on this hike. We can go out to the training area, and that's leaving the beach area, which is Del Mar, and you hike out to the training area where corpsmen train. And they're like, helicopters are gonna pick us up out there. And you want to believe in that? All right. So we get out there, and they're like, nah, they can't pick us up here, but we got to hike to this other area. And we hike down, and then we take the route like heading to 30, heading to Recon 31 area, right? No,
Right.
yeah. We're following the freeway up, and we're gonna go walk up this field, and we travel up this field and stuff. And dudes start freaking out, man. They're like, "Hey, man, where are these helicopters? I only have enough energy to go to this point," and they literally like break down and like fall out. Guys stop drinking water. It was strange, because psychologically you get told you're gonna do something. You need to always prepare yourself for that next level, because hey, it might not show up. Things might
Right.
change, and you can't just give up because you decided that that's all you got. It was some crazy lessons. Dudes were fighting, man. I remember, this is the first time I ever seen where, they said, "Hey man, square yourselves away." They put two guys forehead to forehead with in parade rest, man, literally looking at each other until we step off. You're going to stay in this position. I mean, these are some funny things you look back at. You're just like, wow, did that really happen? That was some funny stuff, but it worked out. And yeah, it was good.
No, it's funny, and you bring up a couple of good points in the fact that you got to be mentally strong. And those are the things that were still, in every service member once you went through boot camp. But you bring that stuff to combat because in combat, they don't oh hey we're gonna start kicking down these doors, start cleaning all these houses and all these things. And you being a corpsman, being out there, I mean, you have to not also be able to carry your own mental load, but you have to help your teammates, your platoon mates, when you're out there in combat doing your thing and with your combat experience. So I'm sure that was difficult when you were out there, trying to dual head those two things, their load and your load, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I went 3 times to combat. The first time with 3-5, and we everybody got on the bird and we landed in Kuwait. And I remember getting on the bus, man. We're heading out to RCT 5, and literally the bus gets stuck somewhere like in Kuwait, not too far from the airport, and it's
Right.
nighttime. So you're already freaking out anyway because you don't know, what to expect. It's scary anyway. You're in a foreign country. So we all get out and help push this bus out. But a lot of guys, we did a 360-degree security and
Oh
had to
yeah.
work on some of these. So it was just kind of this crazy thing. And then, as we prepared to go into combat, just a lot of weird, quirky things kicked off. I remember, seeing a fire that was so tall from the oil that was on fire as we traveled by
Right.
it, and it was literally like about 150 yards away. But that thing was putting out heat like you might have thought the sun was coming close to the earth. And you can't even explain how gnarly things were, or there was a here's what's funny, man. We got out there and we were getting ready to cross the line of departure, and we were all in these, basically like a wagon wheel, circle the wagons, and we were all in
Yeah.
these giant
Security
circles,
wheel.
right?
Yeah.
Remember,
Right.
a security wheel. But here comes some car just traveling across the desert, and they just let that shit drive through the wheel. And I was like, how does that happen? Because we just didn't get the word or something. You didn't know what to think
Right.
about. Because we're not really in the line of departure. But I was like, how does that just happen? And then we started driving down the road, and we were herringbone, and LAVs and everything. We'd be herringbone, and here comes trucks driving right between. No one's stopping them and checking them. Dude, I got out and I stopped this tomato truck with my pistol, and they finally started searching it. There was nothing wrong with it, but these guys thought they were going to be executed. I mean, it's just like, hey, because a pistol means different in anything, right? But I was like, hey, I'm just not feeling safe. Why are we not checking these vehicles? Do you need an order for this? I mean, this is like day one. I mean, it
Right.
was kind of lessons learned. There's a lot of things that we're trying to like figure things out. Do we want to stop the locals? Do we want to create these problems? But it was some funny stuff, dude. And and it worked out. It worked out, man. I remember even before cross the line of departure, and we're training, and guys were driving out there and they were falling in tank holes with the Humvees, and
Oh yeah. That shit happened all the time.
we're already having to be corpsmen and go out and find a vehicle in the middle of the night. Hey man, turn your lights on so we can see you which hole you're in.
Yeah. No kidding.
And
And it's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
hey, and I don't know, were you at RCT 5? Did you go with the line of departure at all?
No, no, no. I actually got to go across the line of departure with the reserve battalion, 4th LAR. Shout out to my
Oh,
fellow
okay.
LAVers out there. Yeah, it was the first time they stood up a reserve unit in 50 years. So I was I. We took all these dudes and gals to Iraq. It was fucking crazy, dude. But hey, let me ask you this, because you mentioned about the weird shit that you see out in combat and in the battlefield, because the battlefield changes at a time. But can we talk about your cock? Can we talk about the cock encounter that you had out there?
All right, hey, yeah, this is my third time, no, second time. Sorry, second time in Iraq, and I was part of Iraqi security forces, and we were actually, you know, I was with Colonel Durant, and we would go in and make sure that the police station is up and running. We'd make sure that this bridge is being guarded and trying to get the Iraqis to take over their country. And Fallujah was kicking off again. It was the second part in Fallujah because we had to go back in there and actually secure it again. And we were traveling through there, and it was straight up like a ghost town. Everything's blown up. We've dropped tons of ammunition in there. We said, "Hey, get out of here," because the enemy was spending a lot of time in there for some reason. And literally, dude, we drive up to this building that's like you have to go up to the building, and then it T-bones to the left or to the right, and you're just like, and there's a rooster on this balcony on like the 13th floor up there, man, and he's looking down at everything that's thrashed and nobody's there, and he's just like cock-a-doodle-doo. And in my mind, I'm like, is this an illusion? What is going on here, man? There's a rooster for one. How did it get to the 13th floor? And it just said, "Hey, I'm gonna hang out here on this balcony, and I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I own this building now," or whatever it's thinking, man.
You're in my hood,
Everything out in
bitch.
front of me. You're in my. So it's like one of these crazy things, and you know, another crazy chicken scenario that I seen, and because it's just weird because you know this is my third time there. I was with the MIT team. I was with the Third Brigade MIT team. We were embedded
Right.
with the Iraqi military. Some of the same stuff I did with the Colonel Durant. Some of the places I went, Habaniya was one of them. And now we got uh, the first division of the army for the Iraqis living in this place. But we would go to different places, different cops, cross the river, the Euphrates River, did a whole bunch of things. But we were traveling down to 3-5's cop one day, and we were going to do some field. We were going to do some neo ops or do some stuff or whatever we're going to do. But we're traveling, and the road's like full of water because a water main broke, and you're in the middle of a desert, and you're like, man, how can this road be so flooded? And we're just
Where the fuck
driving
is all
through
this
water.
water coming from?
Yeah, I was like, damn. And here's a dog traveling at an angle that would take it a mile to cross the road, and in its mouth is a chicken. I mean, we're driving out there. We're gonna spend all day out there. And I mean, I'm looking at everything right, and just like looking at, and here comes this dog at an angle, and you're just like, what? It's got a chicken. It's got a full on chicken in its mouth, and it's just cruising. And so we're out doing our operation all day long, and we're driving. We finally drive back. We have to go back through the same road, do this whole thing, and there's that dog again, dude, with the chicken in its mouth. And so we get back to the cop, and I just look at it, my mid team guys, and I'm like, hey man, why does a chicken cross the road? Because it's in the dog's mouth is the answer. I finally figured that out, right? So you get all this, you always hear this chicken joke about why does the chicken cross the road? Well, to finally get that answer in that kind of fashion, you just look at some scenarios and stuff that just kind of make you go, wow, wow.
It's amazing the shit that we use to cope in such environment, because we do, and we've had multiple conversations where, us and service members, we have this dark sense of humor, because that's what and it helps us cope with whatever shit is going on around us, where there's total chaos. But you turn around in that foxhole as all rounds coming down range, and you're like, dude, what's up with this fucking dog and the chicken in its mouth, But that's what you do to cope and survive in that environment.
Yeah, there's just a lot of different scenarios where you say certain things or, and it's either going to make you laugh or cry. And I think we'd all rather laugh. Or
Right,
I think you just get so used to someone suffering that you can only laugh at it because we're all suffering, right?
right.
And you're looking at it and you're like, damn, this is crazy, man. And when I was with Colonel Durant, I carried this shotgun, and I was close to Colonel Durant all the time. The Benelli shotgun, that was my TO
Yeah.
weapon. That's a TO weapon for a corpsman, a shotgun or a pistol. But now it's the M4 as well. But But I remember the Iraqis that were on post and they were doing things because we, like I said, we were going around. We were saying we were going to the police station. We were going to this and that. And I'd follow Colonel Durant, and I'd get these Iraqis that look at me with that gun, and they'd be like, "Mister, don't shoot me, don't shoot me." I'm like, "Hey, you're gonna have to worry about these Marines shooting you before I do." Like
Yeah.
it just was a strange thing. But they see that Benelli shotgun, and it was like pretty epic. Um, so it was kind of cool. But there's so many other stories, man. I remember as an HN, one that really stuck out to me when I was with Field Med Battalion, and we were doing a field op in 22 area, and we were just hanging out up there, and we set up our tent, and we're all sleeping in it, right? One guy's always giving me a hard time, telling me some, trying to
Oh,
cross the tent, man. I'm on the other side of the tent. He's like, "Where's that box?" And I said, "What box?" And this is where he totally screwed up. He's like, "The box you were standing on when I was sucking your." You could fill in the blank. And
yeah,
so
no shit.
everyone hears this for a second, dude. He goes silent for a second, and then everyone's like, they just
And
start
then just bust
rolling,
out.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, dude, did you just screw that joke up or what? And so, but the crudeness of it, um, and the things that we say to each other in a very playful, cool way,
Yeah, of
and
course.
I think sometimes that might get misbalanced or taken in the wrong way. You're dealing with all the suicides, and maybe some of that can be contributing. Um, but I feel like I needed that. I still need to let go of a lot of tension at times, and in doing so, maybe I'm a little more sarcastic. I need that adrenaline rush for my PTSD. When I'm in my car, I'm saying things inside my car that I need to say, but I don't want to say it to the
Right. You don't want to say it to the general public because it's a little weird how it might be perceived. So it's best to do it in a confined space, like you're saying. Yeah. No, I understand. It can be rough at times, especially when that's why sometimes we have that transition period of getting reacquainted with society and becoming you're no longer the war. You're still a warrior, but yet you're back in general population with the civilians. Not to draw that line on the sand, but it's just because of the things and experiences that we've been through. It's a little hard, and we long for that, and that's why we gravitate towards one another, veterans to veterans, because we have that common ground. Like, hey, I know you've been in the suck, in an environment where it just totally completely sucked, and so we have that common ground, and we see eye to eye on that.
yeah. And I don't think it's yeah. And I think beyond eye to eye, I think it's where else do I get to talk about these memories that's acceptable, that would be anywhere remotely, and I've talked about it in my podcast, is you know do we have a place in society with what we say, see, or have done? And most of the combat stuff, you can't bring it up, you can't talk about it. You got to you we are all being programmed to filterize ourselves, to put these, even our own filters on, so that we're not saying certain things. We're not overly committed to anger. We're not overly committed to sadness. We're not overly committed to happiness. And we all just need to kind of look like and act like robots in this society where when I talk to you coming on the show here, I was looking forward to, just kind of opening up and telling some field op stories. And and talking to you anytime, or talking to any of the guys all the time, my battle buddies, I can say certain things on a whole different level, and that filter doesn't need to always be there. Um, so yeah, it's strange, and it's unique, and I think guys don't understand that they need that, or gals, and they get lost in, hey, I'm just going to go out and do my thing, and then they get out there and they're doing their thing, and they're like, what's missing in my life? And it might be that camaraderie, it might be that battle buddy, it might be a group. It might be being part of something bigger than yourself. Whatever that is, you may be feeling some of that. And so where do you go to release that? You got to get a battle buddy. You got to get some with somebody you've served with, or that have served, and maybe have these cool conversations that break down every once in a while, or get on a podcast like this and just kind of open up and let it rock. You know what I mean? It's just the field op, man. What a cool concept, brother.
No, no, I appreciate that, and it's true. I mean, we all need a venue where we can talk and find that common ground, and just really open up. And that's the great work that you've been doing at Warrior Built. I mean, I myself have been not only a recipient of the other organizations that help us combat veterans, but I've also attended your groups that have been led by you. And I think you're doing a great work out there, and your podcast, the Combat Vet Vision, was one of my venues of releasing some of that stuff, that demon, I guess, some of that steam that I have in me. And I mean, we talked about some serious stuff, and I've gotten emotional. I've cried. We've laughed and all that good stuff. So, where can where can we find you if somebody needs to talk to you? Somebody wants to reach out and is struggling. Where can they find you, man?
Yeah, you can find me in a lot of different places on the internet. Aaron Q Seibert. I really go by that through Facebook, Instagram. I'm all over. I'm on YouTube, the internet. You'll see a lot of different things. I've done speaking arrangements, a whole bunch of things. The command chief of Wounded Warrior Battalion West. But you can also look it up. You can look me up at warriorbuilt.org. You can also see me at ptsdusa.org, and Combat Vet Vision on Facebook and YouTube. Uh, I do that podcast. I'm all over the place. You can hit me up at AQ Siebert at yahoo.com. Um, or you can look up, and my stuff's all over the place. So I actually throw my card up on the internet. I throw a lot of things. And I will say, when I look at everything that's going on in the world, and some of the things that I see and hear, there's a lot of people dealing with PTSD. There's a lot of people dealing with a lot of different things, but I'm not sure they're really asking for help. And, it's not that you necessarily need help, but ask yourself, what are you doing to move forward in the best positive direction that you are? I run a PTSD group on Tuesday nights through the PTSD Foundation of America at Warrior Built facility. And I do it hybrid. So it's also streamed through Zoom. And if you need to attend that or want to attend that, hit me up. And if it's not just that group, there's other groups throughout the United States going on through the PTSD Foundation, through a lot of other organizations. And I reach out to a lot of organizations. I want to say hi to them. One of the biggest things, you know, whether you need help or not, make comments to organizations that are helping, and just something that sounds good, positive to you, positive to the organization, something you believe in. And there is some other organizations out there I don't necessarily believe in so much, they're like an
Yeah, no kidding.
organization that coordinates help for organizations, and they claim to be these great organizations. Um, because there's a lot of people. I like to be where the rubber hits the road. I like to talk to combat vets. I like to do this stuff. I like to, get on your show. I talk to guys throughout the week all the time. I do a lot on Messenger, so hit me up in Messenger, Aaron Q Siebert. You can find me in there, and feel free to hit me up anytime, anyway, and we'll talk. But yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, I think all the great work that you've done, and as a matter of fact, you guys also assist veterans who are really on the edge or about to, take that next step. You guys get them to Camp Hope as well, to get them all the assistance.
yeah, Camp Hope.
Uh,
Let me just talk about that real quick. PTSD Foundation of America is this broad spectrum thing, but Camp Hope is directly in Texas, in Houston, where we send guys from all over the country for this 4 to 6 month, maybe even longer, um, peer-to-peer mentorship, AA, Drugs Anonymous. They get a whole bunch of other stuff. They get a whole bunch of other therapies, a whole bunch of other things. But they're really taking charge of their lives. And these are guys at the end of their levels. they're beyond group, they're beyond this. They need to get out, they need to go, and they need to get to Camp Hope. So that's a huge force multiplier. There's so many force multipliers out there that I talk about. And hey, I'm going to be putting this message out across all my stuff, and I'm going to be hitting up a lot of these organizations. And my challenge is to reach out to somebody like me, or to reach out like to somebody and say, hey, yeah, thanks for what you're doing. And here's what I'm doing with my vets. Because I really want to know. I want to know if you're really where the rubber hits the road, or you're just an organization that's just looking real pretty so that other organizations can, some of these things
Not
are
pointing
just,
any fingers. Yeah.
I'm not going to point any fingers, and I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, but I want to know what you're doing for our vets. If you're really doing something for the vets, I want to know. And if you're a vet that really is dealing with some stuff, let's get you on board to some really
Yeah.
cool programs and get you involved in your life in a more positive direction. But hey, enough of that. But Pacho, thanks a lot for having me on your show. Thanks for the crazy cool things you're doing. Hey, and you know what's cool? Not only are you a combat vet, but you're also you sponsored guys to get jobs and pointed them in the direction of safety, because you're a safety officer in all kinds of different avenues of that. So combat vets that have needed jobs, I've pointed them in your direction. Some of them
Yeah.
have taken advantage of that and really changed their lives in different directions. So, it's, you don't know who you are and what you're doing to help somebody, even when you're just, you think you're just this guy doing this and this and that, but it's an important part to a puzzle piece that needs to get put together so you can have that aha moment. And I'm phrasing Chris Carlisle, who used to say that a lot. He used to be like, it was this really cool thing. Chris Carlisle passed away, 2-time Purple Heart recipient from Afghanistan and Iraq. Amazing guy, part of Warrior Built, and attended my groups as well. So just a shout out to Chris Carlisle and his family. Strength and honor, guys. But yeah, Pacho, thanks for everything you do too, brother. You do some amazing stuff.
Oh, well, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it, and thanks for passing out this information. That's the whole purpose of the podcast, everybody. We're just here. Yeah, we're going to talk about some funny stories, some service related stuff. But the bottom line is that we're connecting the dots, connecting veterans with services from somebody else. So if you're struggling with issues, or you want stuff that you need to get off your chest, please feel free to make some comments or send me a private message right there on Facebook. And then I'll reach out to you. I'll put you in contact with Aaron Seibert as well. But bottom line is, we're here for you, and this is our commitment to you. This is what I'm here for. So, but thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe, share. Go to YouTube, Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me there. Remember that Sitch Radio, that you can also stream the show through Sitch Radio, Apple, Google, Spotify, any streaming platform. But with that being said, everybody, I'm going to call it Index and Hayat. Get some. I am out of here, everybody. Semper Fi. Ira.